fellow congressmen. The time has come to pass. The time has come to pass comprehensive immigration reform in the form of the DREAM Act, because right now the U.S. economy is in a hole, and we're not, and we need something to stimulate it, such as the DREAM Act. You see, I myself am a dreamer, and let me tell you our story. I was brought here at the age of 3 by plane with my parents, and I had no say in the matter, being too young. And being brought here, my parents looked for a greater opportunity, and they did receive it, being the United States of America, a great country with good benefits and employment and so forth. Yet the current status of undocumented students is hurting the economy, since we cannot get jobs, we cannot go get licenses, driver's licenses. We have to pay our own tuition, and at times it could be tough. And seeing as how the current status is, this is not pro-economic. So let me tell you how current state laws will deprive economic benefits and deprive economic growth, such as Alabama's HB 56, which drove their undocumented and illegal immigrants. They're one and the same, both mean the same thing. They drove their undocumented immigrants away, and now their economy is hurting, as well as Arizona's SB 1070, which faces many ethical questions, and it's hurting their economy, and is driving as well their immigrants to other states and so forth. So in this speech, I will argue that keeping DREAM Act eligible students undocumented is hurting the economy. I will also argue that the passage of a DREAM Act for DREAM eligible students will save the economy. And lastly, I will argue that the DREAM Act will in fact not act as an immigrant magnet. So let me begin by describing how the keeping DREAM Act eligible students undocumented hurts the economy. You see, enforcement-only policies such as Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, do not work, because according to the United States Department of Homeland Security, the budget for the Border Patrol skyrocketed from fiscal year 1992, which was about $346 million, to 2009, which is approximately $5.5 billion. Now, also with ICE, their budget increased from fiscal year 1992 about $4.6 million to 2009, which was about $400 billion. And yet with these increases, we have no positive outcomes in terms of decreased immigration, since immigration has steadily rose over the past 2 decades. Now, according to the Pew Hispanic Center, a subgroup for the Pew Research Center, United States citizens are overwhelmingly opposed to enforcement-only policies, with 81% stating enforcement-only policies and deportation policies are not the answer, and with only about 19 to 20% stating that enforcement-only policies is the answer. Okay. Now that I've stated, now that we know how keeping DREAM Act eligible students undocumented hurts the economy, let me begin by describing how legalizing them, or finding a path to legalize them, will save the economy. According to the Cato Institute, legalizing undocumented immigrants will benefit the economy over a 30-year period by increasing revenues from about $1.4 trillion to about $3.7 trillion, and that's over a 30-year period by 2040. Similarly, according to the Congressional Budget Office, the deficit will be reduced by about $2.2 trillion over the course of 20 years, from 2011 to 2030. Yes. So in essence, legalizing the undocumented, legalizing undocumented immigrants will help the economy. According to the Center for American Progress, the 2.1 eligible DREAM Act students will create 1.4 million jobs and employment opportunities by the year 2030, and with an increase in about $329 billion to the U.S. economy over that same year period. So those are two benefits of legalizing undocumented immigrants. And also, okay, so those are some benefits. Now, my opponents say that now that we know a little bit more about how we can save our economy, our opponents, according to Mitt Romney, who was then the candidate for the presidential office in November of 2012, states that legalizing undocumented immigrants, undocumented eligible DREAM Act students will act as a magnet for further further illegal immigration, and that claim is wrong because according to the DREAM Act guidelines, only DREAM Act students who are from 15 years of age to 35 years of age will be eligible. So if you're not in that criteria, you're not going to meet the DREAM Act laws, guidelines, excuse me. So now, and also, you have to be here for at least 5 years by the time that DREAM Act law is taken into effect. So any further immigration will not correspond to those people. And you got to serve 2 years in either military service or go on to higher education to meet a conditional status of about 6 years from where you can update your status, your immigration current status. So now that we know how the DREAM Act will benefit our economy and how keeping DREAM Act eligible students undocumented hurts the economy, I am confident that congressmen in the near future will pass a comprehensive immigration reform in the form of the DREAM Act, because our times demand it, seeing that we are not improving our economy and we need a stimulus to bring us up to the next level. Thank you.